He wanted to look, but was terrified to. He yanked the covers off the bed in one swift motion and jumped back in horror. "Snake! Snake!" he shrieked, pelting out of the door and down the stairs as if the toy snake were able to jump up and chase him at 60 miles per hour. Back downstairs in the kitchen, everyone heard a cry in the distance that was soon followed by Mr. Bunce tearing into the room. His eyes were wild, and he clutched the kitchen worktop for support. "Blood in the shower! The curse! Snakes in my room!" he spluttered. Everyone in the room looked at him, astonished. "Are you feeling well, Bunce?" asked Uncle Herb. "What's the matter with you, man?" asked Mr. Burt, more bluntly. "You do look a bit peaky," added Mrs. Burt. "I'm telling you," gasped Mr. Bunce, "blood is coming out of the shower, and there's a snake in my bed." He covered his face with his hands. A few moments passed while the other adults digested this news. "Nonsense, Bunce," laughed Uncle Herb. "What are you talking about?" "See for yourselves," Mr. Bunce said, pointing to the door that led to the rooms. Everyone quickly jumped up and followed Mr. Bunce back upstairs to his bedroom and bathroom. Barney, who was equally curious and had finished his chicken dinner, followed suit. The adults followed Mr. Bunce into the bathroom and stared at the shower. The red food colouring drops had by now disappeared down the plug hole, and the water was looking perfectly normal. "There was blood," insisted Mr. Bunce. "I'm telling you, there was blood cascading out of the shower," he said, wide-eyed with fear. Mr. Burt leaned in and turned the water off and on a few times. There was no evidence of any change of colour in the water. While Mr. Bunce continued protesting, and the other adults wondered if he had gone mad, Rufus silently crept behind them and wiped the mirror with his sleeve, clearing the message he had written. He stepped back into the hall before anyone had turned around. "It wasn't just the water. There was a message on the—" Mr. Bunce stopped mid-sentence as he turned and saw a normal-looking mirror, completely devoid of any threatening words. "Well, the snake must still be there," he continued. "Follow me." Everyone crowded into the bedroom, where the covers were still thrown back, but there was no snake in sight. "This is absurd, Bunce," scolded Uncle Herb. "Our dinners are getting cold for this," complained Mr. Burt. While Mr. Bunce insisted there had been a real live snake in his bed, Barney spotted a toy snake wriggling about in the corner of the room next to the door. He grabbed it gleefully and took it to Lara, who nimbly switched off the batteries and stuffed it into her pocket. "Are you sure these things happened, boss?" asked Kareem. Mr. Bunce gave Kareem an icy glare. "Of course it all happened, Kareem. Do you really think I'd make things up? Unless—" Mr. Bunce turned towards Lara, Tom, and Rufus. "You," he spat. "You children had something to do with this." Rufus put his hand on his chest and gasped. "Mr. Bunce, I must say I am shocked and appalled," he protested, sounding so innocent and hurt that it was a struggle for Lara and Tom to keep a straight face. "We were downstairs eating Mrs. B's delicious cooking until you caused all this commotion." Mrs. Burt glowed at receiving another compliment on her cooking. "It's true, boss. They were all downstairs until just now." "Shut up," hissed Mr. Bunce. "I will not stay here tonight. I am going to get a room at the Laughing Pig forthwith. Kareem, I will be back first thing tomorrow morning. Continue with your tasks." Within the next few minutes, Mr. Bunce had shoved his belongings in a bag and stormed out of the castle, slamming the heavy front door behind him. Everyone else returned to the kitchen to finish their dinners, and a delicious peach cobbler that Mrs. Burt had prepared for dessert. The children assumed that Kareem's tasks consisted of following them about.